Hello everyone, this is Hallie, secretly one of the two SSS fans, and I wanted to make this video because after seeing Eh's video, I think there was just a lot more that wasn't discussed, and to be fair, there's likely a bit of overlap between this and his video that will come out, like, I don't know, in less than 24 hours. So this is sort of a refresher of stuff in Eh's video. One, which was the goal of SSS. The goal that you kind of want to do is basically set up quickly to anti-stealth rounds. What does this mean? So in SSS, there's this thing called danger level. Basically, the longer you take to kill the enemies get stronger. So logically, you want to kill the enemies as fast as possible. And because you want to do that, you want to make a deck that is pretty consistent, and it will let you basically drop your stacks really quickly and put your carry units on quickly. So how do you design a squad? I think the best way to explain how to design a good squad is by looking at this game that Corbett played. This is Hearthstone, and the deck he's running is some random OTK druid, of course, which is basically just ramp, then play your cards, of course you have to draw them, and kill the opponent, which is actually not that far from what you have to do in Arknights in SSS. You're basically just printing a lot of DP with your vanguards to afford, and also like those will be your stacks, and then afterward you just place your carry units and then activate skills, and you win. Unpopular opinion, Golden Glow is actually the most overrated SSS unit. This is because when you're making your deck, you want to have a very focused strategy. And because Vanguards are just really core to SSS, like it's really hard to play SSS without Vanguards because they give you the DP, they're early blockers, etc. So, okay, you want to run Golden Glow, but you also want to run some Vanguards. Now you kind of have to. I also have to give stats for your Golden Glow, whether that's your snipers or your casters, but these are not really compatible with the Vanguard stacks. The one exception is Mama John's security plate, but that's kind of more the exception than the rule, because there you can just have your melee and ranged stacks perfectly overlap with each other, and that's fine and dandy. But that is unfortunately not the case with the majority of SS towers. So imagine a scenario. You're on the last stage, and you're trying to draw into like your vanguards, and then eventually like your ground, either carry unit or blocker. Now, and let's say you're not doing Mama John's plate, so you're doing Raytheon. So you need a medic, and you need ranged DPS to actually not, leak. Now, you're basically fishing for multiple things at once, and that's really hard to do consistently. So the solution is to actually just drop the Golden Glow package and to run just a pure melee focused comp. So you have your Irene, you have your Chongyue, you have your Mlynar, all excellent SSS carries, and because of this, because your deck is just more focused, it's a lot easier to for your stacks to be relevant for all your carries, and it's harder to lose. Another thing that I want to mention is the idea of an intermediary stack. So in a Eh's tier list, you can see ops like Surtur, Tex Altar, Yato Altar, all the bottom, same with Thorns. But the reason of that is because they are not good carry units, which are the units that you want to have at the very top of your stack. But those units are also perfectly fine in the middle of your stack, because they're not only other stacks, but they're actually able to remove a couple enemies and ease off the pressure early. Now, this is why I run Surtur and Spectre in my own list of ops that I bring to Raytheon. So other great units for these intermediary stacks include Ines and Kanta, because with Bagpipe they can insta-proc their S2. You can also, Bagpipe is also great in her own right because S3 is pretty strong DPS to knock out the early mobs. You can, again, the FRDs are good. But yeah, in general, like these intermediary stacks are actually quite useful, and oftentimes instead of just opting for like the cheapest option, so for example like a Yato, a Thermiex, it's better to pick, sometimes better to pick these ops that are a bit more expensive, but they will actually do something and stave off the enemies before you draw into your big powerhouses. Lastly, I'm going to mention the idea of a tech operator, which is basically an operator that you bring solely to counter a specific mechanic or a specific enemy in the stage. So as you can see, I have several medics because it's Raytheon. I'm basically trying to counter the stage mechanic of my ops constantly taking damage. How deep? But other ops include Mudrock, because there's one of the stages actually has multiple blue boxes, and it's kind of difficult for Chunga to actually handle them all on his own. Similar thing with Spectre. Basically the idea is I kind of just drop these two ops for high block count, and they can just like they won't die easily, and then this gives me enough time to for Chunga to actually like kill them. Same thing with Mlynar. The thing with Mlynar is that even though yes he has his Liberator trait and it's giving him a sizable attack buff just by waiting, you don't need to activate the skill when it's like when the button is glowing yellow. Shocker. But it's nice to be able to activate it earlier to kill mobs that are potentially leaking, or I could just hold it off for even bigger damage bursts. So that explains squad, and I guess I can sort of go through the floor 6 stage, beating it with the squad. Basically, the idea, because it's not emergency, I don't want to actually draw too much at the start, because if I draw into one of the concrete, it's over. Because everything is now super expensive, and I have to get rid of the concrete out of my hand like relatively quickly. So you can see that I'm basically just trying to keep medics, or I'm trying to keep an AoE medic. I'm trying to keep ops that I can stack, and of course there's supporters in case I need more drop. The nice thing about this about the EC unit for Raytheon is that it's also a draw 2. Keep that in mind. So I actually kind of trolled in the 4-3 stage. I wanted to see if Chunga could solo the the thief boss. He could not, because I forgot he has a jump over ability. So that's why you only see one draw 2. But this would be like even smoother. The run would be even smoother if I had my draw 2. If I had an extra draw 2, just for consistency. Another thing that you'll see me do is basically like draw at specific times, because the boss has a thing where it's like, if you draw something, if you draw an item from your deck, it turns out all the other enemies invisible. So, and like my comp heavily depends on having range, or like killing the officer from like a little bit of a range. So I only want to draw into it when the tumor guy is the only enemy on the field. Yeah. one thing that you actually see is I picked the plus 50% attack stat, or 50% attack bonus from the EC unit, not the SP unit, because I already have infinite SP from my Vanguards, from my Vanguard A's and my Spec B's, and so I don't really need more. I'd rather just prefer the extra survivability and damage that the 50% attack gives. Yeah. I'm also kind of throwing for content. One of the like when I activate End with this skill, I actually should have just immediately retreated her because Mlynar doesn't actually kill the other enemies in time, but Corbett is strong enough to kill everything. Thanks to ASPD, just a crap ton of attack. Sculptor's helping as well. Yeah, overall it's just just two carry units. Choga and Mlynar are more than enough to just completely wipe the floor with emergency Raytheon. Thank you for watching. If you made it to the end, this is very rare kind of content that I'll make, partly because making a script is annoying and like editing is also really annoying. So like this is why what I'm saying has a crap ton of fillers in it. I'm just recording this in one take. Well, technically not one take, but several. But yeah, really appreciate you. Thanks for watching. See you around.